So next I am going to discuss the special cases, some special cases in the work energy theorem. So first I will be discussing the working for each special case. Later I will show you the conclusion of the special case. You can copy the notes later. You just concentrate only to listen to me. I will show you the notes later. Just listen to me here now first. So that means there are good number of questions you find in different books, including some of the previous entrance examinations. Based on these special cases, there is one special cases. We make two bodies of different masses, maybe moving with equal kinetic energies. So if two bodies of different masses are moving with equal kinetic energies in straight line paths, and suppose if they are brought to rest by applying equal constant retarding forces, then I would like to compare the distances covered by the two bodies before they come to rest. And sometimes you may be asked to find the ratio of the times taken to bring the two bodies to rest during retarded motion after application of braking forces, or I mean after application of retarding forces. According to the work energy theorem, the change in the kinetic energy of the body is equal to work done by the external force on the body. Change in the kinetic of the body can write final kinetic energy of the body minus initial kinetic energy of the body. That means we are considering a body which moves in a straight line path in the horizontal direction. So if the body moves in a straight line path in the horizontal direction, we can say that work done by the gravitational force is 0 and work done by the normal reaction force by the horizontal surface of the body will also be 0. So the only work is done by the retarding force applied to the body. The retarding force is constant in magnitude and continuously acts opposite to the direction of the motion. Then work done with the retarding force, we can write Fs cos theta. Here the angle between the direction of the retarding force and direction of the displacement can be taken as 180 degrees. So if the body is brought to rest, then the final kinetic energy of the body is 0. Cos 180 degrees equal to minus 1. So if a body moving in a straight line path with some initial kinetic energy denoted by Ki or Ke subscript I is brought to rest in a distance f by applying a constant retarding force of magnitude f, which acts opposite to the direction of the motion, then you can write initial kinetic energy of the body is equal to product of the magnitude of the retarding force and magnitude of the displacement during the retarded motion before it comes to rest. That means the initial kinetic of the body is equal to the work done against the retarding force on the body before the body comes to rest. So if the initial kinetic energy of the first body you can write F into S1. The S1 is the distance traveled by the first body before it comes to rest. Initial kinetic energy of the second body you can write Ke2 subscript I equal F into S2. Ke2 subscript I represents the initial kinetic of the second body, which may have different mass. Then if you divide F is the magnitude of retarding force applied on each body, which is, we are considering the case where the retarding force is the same. Therefore, if you divide one equation by the other, then F will represent the magnitude of retarding force, that gets cancelled. So if the two bodies are moving in straight line paths, and if they are brought to rest by applying equal constant retarding force, and the ratio of the distances covered by the two bodies before they come to rest during the retarded motions is same as the ratio of their initial kinetic energies. The two bodies are initially moving with equal kinetic energies, then ratio of the initial kinetic energies will be 1. Then the ratio of the distances covered before they come to rest during retarded motion will also be 1:1. Or both the bodies cover the same distance during the retarded motion before they come to rest. Need not copy this working part. I will show you the notes separately, then you can write the working, copy the working later. In some of the questions, you may be asked to find the ratio of the times taken to bring the two bodies to come to rest, and they are brought to rest by applying equal constant retarding forces. So if a body is moving in a straight line path, and if it is brought to rest under the action of a constant external force, from Newton's second law, the external force acting on the body can be written as time rate of change of linear amount of the body. The force is constant. Then the instantaneous value of external force is same as the average value of the external force, which you can write final momentum minus initial momentum divided by time interval. So when the body is brought to rest by applying a constant retarding force, then the magnitude of the final momentum is 0. The magnitude of the final momentum is 0, then the retarding force F bar can write 0 minus pi bar by t. So magnitude of the retarding force applied is equal to magnitude of the initial momentum of the body divided by time taken to bring the body to rest. So if you use this equation for each body separately, for the first body, magnitude of the retarding force applied, you can write magnitude of initial momentum of the first body divided by time taken to bring the first body to rest, and using the same equation for second body separately. So again, using the same equation for second body separately, magnitude of the retarding force applied on second body is equal to magnitude of the initial momentum of second body divided by time taken to bring the second body to rest. Here we are discussing the special case where the two bodies moving in straight line path are brought to rest by applying equal and constant retarding force. Equal and constant retarding forces. So magnitude of the retarding force applied on second body, same as the magnitude of retarding force for this applied on first body. Therefore, you can equate can substitute this part, equate the right hand side of these two equations. Therefore, magnitude of retarding force applied on each body is equal to magnitude of the initial momentum divided by time. That you can write magnitude of the initial velocity. Therefore, my ratio of the times taken to bring the two bodies to rest is equal to ratio of the magnitudes of initial momenta of the two bodies. Mod of pi bar subscript 1 represent the magnitude of initial moment of the first body. Mod of pi bar subscript 2 represent the magnitude of initial moment of the second body. As I discussed in the past, magnitude of the linear moment of the body, which is in pure translatory motion, can be written in terms of its kinetic energy, root of 2m into ke. In the present discussion, the two bodies are moving with same initial kinetic energy. So initial kinetic energy of each body is the same. Root 2 is the constant. Therefore, ratio of the magnitudes of their initial momenta, if they are initially moving with equal kinetic energies, is equal to square root of the ratio of their masses. Next, I am going to show you the notes for the same discussion, same special case. So those who are writing the notes, come on, get ready with your notebook and pen. I am going to show the notes for the same thing. So next I am going to show the notes for the same case 1. Come on, look at the screen. So those who are writing the notes, please get ready with your notebook and pen. For particularly those who are in junior intermediate now, I advise them to write the notes because they are learning these topics, concepts for the first time. Particularly if they are learning these things for the first time, I advise them to write the notes. So those who are already completed junior intermediate, if they may be already familiar with some of the discussions I am doing, so it will be a sort of revision for them. They can just read the notes. But particularly for those who are intermediate first year, I advise them to write the notes. See, first I have shown the conclusion on the screen. Later I will be showing the working for the conclusion. There is a question based on this discussion, case in all the board examination papers in the past. Two bodies moving in a straight line path with equal kinetic energies are brought to rest by applying equal constant retarding forces. Then both the bodies will travel the same distance before coming to rest during the retarded motion. Come on, copy down this conclusion first. Copy down this conclusion. I'm going to show the working for this conclusion. Here F represents the magnitude of the retarding force which acts opposite to the direction of displacement of the body. S is the magnitude of the displacement of the body during the retarded motion. From work energy theorem we can write change in the kinetic energy. That means final kinetic energy of the body minus initial kinetic of the body is equal to work done with external force of the body. If the final velocity is 0, then final kinetic energy is 0. Can put Ke final equal to 0 on the left side. And work done with retarding force you can write F minus Fs because the retarding force acts opposite displacement of the body. And if it is constant and acts opposite displacement of the body, then work done by the retarding force you can write minus F into S. So our initial kinetic of the body you can write F into S. I mean initial kinetic of the body at beginning of retarded motion is equal to product of magnitude of the retarding force applied and magnitude of the displacement covered during the retarded motion. Come on, copy down this working. First you copy the conclusion, then copy the working. In case you need more time to copy these notes, you can take a pause. Because all the students do not require same time to copy the notes. So therefore, in case you need more time, you can take a pause and take your time. I am going to show you the working continuation for this working. So using the last equation, initial kinetic of the first body can write F into S1, Ke1 subscript I represent the initial kinetic of the first body at the beginning of retarded motion. F is the magnitude of retarding force applied as well as the distance traveled by the first body during the retarded motion before it comes to rest. Using the same equation for second body, you can write Ke2I equal to F into S2. Ke2I represents initial kinetic energy of second body at the beginning of its retarded motion. F is the magnitude of the retarding force applied, and S2 is the distance traveled by the second body before it comes to rest during the retarded motion. F is the magnitude of retarding force applied, which is same in both the cases. That means both the bodies are brought to rest by applying equal and constant retarding forces. So dividing the initial kinetic of the first body with initial kinetic of the second body, you get S1 by S2. That means the ratio of the distance traveled by the two bodies before they come to rest during the retarded motion is same as the ratio of their initial kinetic energies. So if initial kinetic of the first body is same as initial kinetic of the second body, then S1 by S2 will be equal to 1 or S1 equal to S2. Come on, copy down the working. So constant retarding force F bar, you can write Pf bar minus Pi bar by T. Pf bar means final momentum of the body after time T. Pi bar is the initial momentum of the body at the beginning of time interval T. So the body is brought to rest, final momentum vector is equal to 0 bar. So those who want to copy the notes, come on, please finish copying the notes. In case you need more time to copy the notes, you can take a pause and take your time. So magnitude of the retarding force can witness magnitude of the initial momentum at the beginning of retarded motion divided by time taken to bring the body to rest. So here a mod of F1 bar is mod of F2 bar. So here mod of F1 bar is the magnitude of the retarding force applied on the first body. Mod of F2 bar is the magnitude of retarding force applied on the second body. So magnitude of the retarding force applied on the first body, you can write P1I by T1. P1I is the magnitude of initial moment of the first body at the beginning of its retarded motion. So on the right hand side, magnitude of retarding force applied on second body, you can write P2I by T2. P2I is the magnitude of the initial moment of second body at the beginning of its retarded motion. T2 is the time taken to bring the second body to rest. So T1 by T2, you get P2I by so magnitude of the retarding force applied on the first body can be witnessed P1I by T1. P1I is the magnitude of initial moment of the first body. Magnitude of retarding force applied on the second body can write P2I by T2. T2 is the time taken to bring the second body to rest. T1 is the time taken to bring the first body to rest. That means I am discussing on how to find the times taken to bring the two bodies to rest after application of retarding forces. So magnitude of time, ratio of the times taken to bring the two bodies to rest is given by T1 by T2 equal to P1I by P2I. P1I is the magnitude of initial moment of the first body, which you can write root of 2m1 into Ke1. Ke1 is the initial kinetic of the first body at the beginning of its retarded motion. P2I is the magnitude of initial moment of second body, which you can write root of 2m2 into Ke2. Ke2 is the initial kinetic of second body at the beginning of its retarded motion. So if the initial kinetic energy of the first body is same as the initial kinetic energy of the second body, then T1 by T2 equal root of M1 by M2. That means the ratio of the times taken to bring the two bodies to rest will be equal to square root of the ratio of their masses. So I am considering, next I am going to discuss another special case too, which is converse of this case. That is the next case 2. I am going to discuss the case where the two bodies are initially moving with the same magnitude of linear momentum in the straight line paths, and they are brought to rest by applying equal constant retarding forces. So in general, if two bodies moving in straight line paths, as we have discussed just now in the case 1, the two bodies moving in straight line paths are suppose brought to rest by applying equal and constant retarding forces, then the ratio of the times taken by them to come to rest, same as the ratio of the magnitudes of their initial momenta. Suppose if they are initially moving with the same linear momentum, that means initial momentum of the first body at the beginning of its retarded motion. Suppose if it is same as the initial momentum of second body at the beginning of its retarded motion, then T1 by T2 will get 1. That means both the bodies will come to rest after same interval of time. So that means I am going to show you the next second case here, directly the PowerPoint notes here. See the case 2. I have shown you the conclusion first. Later I will be showing you the working. So come on, look at the conclusion I have shown on the screen for case 2. That is second special case in work energy theorem. Two bodies of different masses moving rectilinearly with the same magnitude of linear momentum are brought to rest by applying equal constant retarding forces. Then both the bodies come to rest after the same interval of time. This is the conclusion. Come on, copy this conclusion in your notes. Next, I am going to show you the working for this conclusion. That is, if M1 into mod of V1 bar is equal to M2 into mod of V2 bar. Here V1 bar is the initial momentum of the first body of mass M1. V2 bar is the initial velocity of second body of mass M2 at the beginning of its retarded motion. Or P1I equal to P2I. P1I represents the magnitude of initial momentum of the first body at the beginning of its retarded motion. P2I is the magnitude of initial momentum of second body at the beginning of its retarded motion. Then T1 will be equal to T2. As explained in the previous case, same working has to be repeated even for case 2. In case you are given some theory question in board examination based on the second case. That means if you are given a question like this, if two bodies are initially moving in straight line paths, the same magnitude of linear momentum, and if they are brought to rest by applying equal and constant retarding forces. If you are asked to find the ratio of the times taken by them to come to rest, then you have to repeat the same working which I have done in the previous case. That means you have to show the working I have shown in the previous case. Again, I will show that. That is, this part of working you have to show. P1I by T1 equal to P2I by T2, or T1 by T2 equal to P1I by P2I. So here P1I equal to P2I, therefore T1 will be equal to T2. That means if the two bodies are initially moving same magnitude of linear momentum in straight line paths, and if they are brought to rest by applying equal and constant retarding forces, then both the bodies will take same time to come to rest. But sometimes you may be asked to compare the distances covered by the two bodies before they come to rest. So whatever working you have done in the beginning part of previous case, same working has to be repeated even for this case. That means if the two bodies moving in straight line paths are suppose brought to rest by applying equal and constant retarding forces, as we have seen in the previous case, ratio of the distances covered by the two bodies before they come to rest will be same as the ratio of the initial kinetic energies of the two bodies. That means here on the right hand side, Ke1I represents the initial kinetic energy of the first body at the beginning of its retarded motion. Ke subscript 2I represents the initial kinetic energy of second body at the beginning of its retarded motion. Ke1I can be written as P square by 2m1. Here P is the magnitude of the initial momentum of each body at the beginning of its retarded motion. In the present case, the two bodies are initially moving with the same magnitude of linear momentum, which are denoted by P here. So Ke2I means initial kinetic of second body at the beginning of its retarded motion, which you can write P square by 2m2. Therefore, ratio of the distances covered by the two bodies before they come to rest during the retarded motion will be equal to inverse ratio of their masses if they are initially moving with the same magnitude of linear momentum. Come on, copy down this working. Copy down this working. Copy down the conclusion and also the working. In case you need more time to write these notes, you can take a pause and take your time. Next, I am going to discuss the working for the next special case in work energy theorem. So I am going to discuss one more special case, next special case. Suppose if an electric motor lifts water from a well and pumps out with speed V. So here, let M denote the mass of the water which is lifted vertically upwards from the well. Let H denote the vertical height through which the water is lifted. So let us consider the force acting on the mass M. Its weight mg acts vertically downwards. Let capital F denote the magnitude of the lifting force are used to lift the water from the well developed by the engine of the motor. The direction of the displacement is upwards here according to the work energy theorem. The change in I am going to discuss the calculation of the average power delivered by the motor. According to the work energy theorem, change in the kinetic energy is equal to total work done by all the forces. That is equal to work done by the lifting force applied on the mass M plus work done by the gravitational force. W subscript small g represents work done by the gravitational force. WF represents the work done by the lifting force. So work done by the gravitational force mg will be negative because the gravitational force mg acts opposite to the direction of the displacement. So change in the kinetic energy of the mass M, we can write final kinetic energy minus initial kinetic energy. So final kinetic energy of the mass M of the water lifted from the well can write half mv square. So here V is the magnitude of velocity or speed with which the water is pumped out from the well. Initial kinetic energy of water in the well can be taken as 0. Therefore, work done by the lifting force developed by the engine of the motor is equal to half mv square plus mgh. The average power delivered by the lifting agent or power output of the motor is equal to work done by the lifting force divided by time interval. That we can write as half mv square plus mgh divided by time t. The water is pumped out with negligible speed. If the water is pumped out with negligible speed, in that case, we write P equal to mgh by t. So I am going to show you the notes for the same case now. Come on, look at the screen here. I am going to show you the notes for the same case. Now again, you can start writing the notes. See, look at the case 3. Water of mass M is lifted to a vertical height h from a well and is pumped out with linear speed v. And the average power delivered by the pump is given by P subscript A equal half mv square plus mgh by t. So I have directly given you the conclusion first. Next I am going to show you the working for this conclusion. Delta K equal WF plus WG. As I told you, WF represents the work done with lifting force developed by the engine of the motor. WG the work done by gravitational force. So work done by gravitational force you can write mass mgh. Delta K you can write half m into v square minus c square. And u is the initial speed and v the final speed of the mass m of the water pumped out from the well. So if the initial speed u is 0, then you can take initial speed of water in the well can be assumed to be taken as 0. So in the right hand side I have shown the free body diagram for the mass m that is lifted. F is the lifting force applied by the agent. That means the force developed by the lifting mechanism or developed by the engine of the motor. Come on, you can copy down these notes now. So WF can be written as mgh plus half m into v square minus c square. So if u is 0, then you get average power delivered by the lifting agent is equal to WF by T. That is half mv square plus mgh by T. Come on, finish writing. So in case you need more time to copy the notes, you can take a pause. Next, I am going to discuss one more special case. So I am going to discuss here one more special case where a body of mass m is moved in the horizontal direction by an external agent or by a pulling source which delivers constant power. So I am considering the case where a body of mass m is moved in the horizontal direction by an engine or by an agent which delivers constant power. Here F is the magnitude of the force applied by the pulling agent on the body. The other forces which act on the body are its weight mg, which acts vertical downwards, and normal reaction force by the surface on the body which acts vertically upwards. So let us suppose work done by the friction is negligible. So when I am discussing the case where the power delivered by the agent is constant, and the power delivered by the agent is constant, the instantaneous power will be same as the average power. So I am going to discuss the calculation of instantaneous velocity of time t and distance covered in time t. And the body moves in a straight line path under the action of an external force applied by the agent is supplying a constant power. According to the work energy theorem, the change in the kinetic energy of the body is equal to total work done by all the force acting on the body. So work done by the agent plus work done by the gravitational force plus work done by the normal reaction. Here W subscript small g represents the work done by the gravitational force on the body. W subscript n represents work done by the normal reaction force on the body. W subscript A or W subscript agent represents the work done by the pulling source or agent which causes motion, responsible for motion. So change in the kinetic energy of the body can write final kinetic energy of the body minus initial kinetic energy of the body. Final kinetic energy can write half mv square. If the body is initially at rest, the initial kinetic energy can be taken as 0. So work done by the agent divided by time interval. Is the therefore work done by the agent. Let us first write the work done by the agent. Work done by gravitational force, you can take it as 0 when the body moves in the horizontal direction. Work done by normal reaction force on the body can also be taken as 0 because it acts perpendicular displacement. So work done by the agent is equal to half mv square. Now average power delivered by the agent is equal to work done by the agent divided by time interval. That is equal to half mv square by t. So I am discussing the special case where power delivered by the agent is constant. So P is equal to mv square by 2t, or v square you can write 2pt by m. Or you can just now concentrate only to listen. Don't copy the working now. I will be showing you the notes later. Then you can copy the working. So magnetic velocity after time t is proportional to root t. T per half. To find a distance traveled from the initial position as a function of time, you can write v equal ds by dt. Here ds is a displacement covered by the body during the infinitesimally small interval of time dt. So instant velocity you can write ds by dt, which is equal to root of 2pt by m. So ds can be written as root of 2p by m into root t into dt. So we integrate here both sides. We assume s to be 0 at the initial position at t equal to 0. That means we measure the displacement from initial position. So value of s can be taken as 0 at the initial moment t equal to 0. Let us be the magnitude of the displacement from initial position after time t. Root of 2p by m we can treat as a constant. That's why I have put outside the integral symbol. In the present discussion, the power P delivered by the agent is constant. V is proportional to T. I told you only when P is constant. The mass of the body can also be considered as a constant. So root of 2P by M is a constant. So integral root T means you can write T power half. Integral T power half. So S equal to root of 2P by M integral of T power half dt 0 to T. So you can write S equal to root of 2p by m using the formula integral of t power n dt is equal to t power n plus 1 by n plus 1, or integral x power n dx is equal to x power n plus 1 by n plus 1 plus constant of integration. But you need not write the constant of integration when there is limits for the integrals here. So here n equal to 1 by 2. So this will be t power 1 by 2 plus 1 divided by 1 by 2 plus 1. That means distance traveled in time t is proportional to t power 3 by 2. So our SC can write root of this. You can simplify further. yourself. 1 by 2 plus 1 is 3 by 2. You can try to simplify it yourself and check up the calculation. So actually I'm going to show you the notes for the same case. You can copy the working now. See the same case I am going to show you the notes for this case 4. Come on, now you can, those who are writing the notes, they can start writing the notes. First I have shown you the conclusion on the screen. You can first copy this conclusion, later you can copy the working part. I will once read out this conclusion. The body starts from rest and is moved in the horizontal direction by an external agent which delivers constant power. Then if the friction is negligible, the distance covered in time t is proportional to t power 3 by 2. This is a free body diagram for the body. Here capital F is the magnitude of the force applied by the agent. That means here friction is negligible, or work done by the friction is negligible. The conclusion is valid only when frictional force can be neglected, or work done by the friction is negligible. According to the work change in kinetic energy, work done by the change in the kinetic, according to work energy theorem, change in the kinetic energy of the body is equal to total work done by all the external force on the body. So W subscript A represents work done by the pulling agent. W subscript N represents work done by the normal reaction force on the body. W subscript small g represents work done by the gravitational force of the body. So Wg have put 0, Wn also 0. So work done by the agent equal half mv square. The average power delivered by the agent is equal to work done by the agent divided by time interval. Instantaneous power can be taken as equal to the average power when power is constant. Come on, finish copying these notes up to here. In case you need more time to copy the notes, you can take a pause and take your time. So power P equal half mv square by t, that is constant in the present discussion. From this you can write v square equal to 2pt by m, or v equal root of 2pt by m. So v is proportional to root t. So instantaneous velocity you can write ds by dt, which you can write root of 2p by m into root t. First you finish copying up to here. So in case you need more time, you can take a pause. I'm going to show the continuation for this working. So ds you can write root of 2p by m t power half into dt. So now integrating both sides, integral ds from 0 to s equal root of 2p by m, integral of t power half dt directly I have written. T power half plus 1 by half plus 1. This you can write s equal to 2 by 3 into root of 2p by m t power 3 by 2. You copy the working and you should get convinced of each step in the working. In the next step I put everything within the root symbol. T power 3 by 2 can write under root of t whole cube. T power half whole cube or under root t whole cube. So this you can write as equal root of 8 pt cube by 9m. M is the mass of the body. Come on, finish writing the notes. So in case you need more time to copy the notes, you can take a pause and take your time. Next I am going to show you one problem based on this discussion. See the problem 4. The problem 4 is based on the same special case which I have just now discussed, that is case 4. Therefore, I am going to use the conclusions of case 4 to solve this problem. Body starts from rest and is moved along a horizontal surface by an external agent which delivers constant power. It acquires a velocity of 1 meter per second after it travels 1 meter. What will be its velocity when it travels 8 meters from the initial position? That means the same case which I just now discussed. You have to make use of the same working here. So I am not repeating the working. I am directly using the conclusions of the case I have discussed. In case you may not be expected to give this problem for board exam, so you can directly use the conclusion, remember, or you derive the same, repeat the working. So V as a function of time, as we have discussed earlier, V as a function of time equal to root of 2 pt by m when power is constant. And S as a function of time, we can write 2 by 3 into root of 2 ptq by m. So you can combine these two. From first equation you can see V is proportional to t power half and S is proportional to t power 3 by 2. That means S is proportional to t power half whole cube. You combine this and this. So you can write S is proportional to V cube. You can even cube V and divide with S. You can arrive at the same conclusion. If you divide S with V cube, you can observe that S is proportional to V cube. That means S by V cube will be some constant. That means S2 by S1 can be written as V2 by V1 whole cube. S1 is the distance traveled, V1 is the velocity acquired after it travels the distance S1. V2 is the velocity acquired after it travels the distance S2 from initial position. Both S1 and S2 must be measured from initial position. So in the given problem, S1 is 1 meter, S2 is 8 meters. That will be equal to V2 by V1 whole cube. So you get V2 by V1 equal to 2. 2 cube is equal to 8. So V2 is 2 times V1. Here V1 is equal to 1 meter per second. Therefore you get V2 as 2 meter per second. You can copy down this working.